I apologize for that. The dogs decided they were going to bark at the neighbor parking in their own house. So, anyway, the point I was trying to make here is you can change anything it is you want to control the user experience. For example, for if you're putting in an email address or something, or you're putting in a, something for a card or whatever sort of online service or whatnot where you have to fill out all this information, you can stop the user from doing certain types of things, If you want them to put in the state and you only want them to put in the abbreviation, you can make it so they can only type in 2 letters at once. That's it. Or, no, you have to check this you understand the rules and agreement of the user agreement and whatnot. You can force them to check that. You have to check that you have read the user agreement, so on and so forth. These are the types of things that we wind up using in all the everyday situation, but many people don't actually see the background information of how it goes into it and how they create it. And if they're not using Access, they're using something very similar to Access. And of course we have, our insert rows, delete rows, so on and so forth. Now, at the same time, what you have to have is you have to have a little bit of problem solving. So out of these fields here, and we're going to completely ignore, this is a PK example, as a matter of fact, I'm just going to delete that row entirely. Yes, I will permanently delete it. Yes. Let's just assume we have attending class, social security number, middle initial, first name, and last name. Let's assume those are the only 5 bits of information we have. Which one should we use as our primary key? Well, is it possible for more than one person to be attending class? Yes. In that case, we probably shouldn't make that a primary key, because a primary key has to be something that is unique. And you're going to have multiple yeses and multiple nos. Last name. Is it possible for 2 people to have the same last name? Yes, then we should probably skip it. What about first name? Well, it's possible for multiple people to have the same first name. It's the same for people to have the same middle initial. I mean, there's only, 26 letters in the English alphabet? Oh, but social security number. Yeah, that one's the one that no one's going to actually wind up, seeing. So, there's only one person that has your social security number, so chances are that should be the primary key. Now, I'm going to undo that because, save the table, because obviously I have nothing in this as I made all my fun stuff, so I would have gotten really a lot of duplicates had I done this before. So make sure you actually type in stuff in your fields before you select a primary key. But I'm going to just wind up filling in just some gibberish here, like oh, why not? I'll just make a Smith. I'll make Henry can be used as a last name. Yeah, there's a Mark Henry out there. For those of you that follow wrestling. Let's put a John Smith in there. What was her first name? I don't remember. But I did remember having a teacher in, first grade, Miss Oceanboomy. So congratulations, Miss Oceanboomy. Your name is now Miss. Let's go with Spider-Man. Peter Parker. Why not? We'll have ourselves, Howlett. And his first name is... Actually, his first name's James, isn't it? His middle initial is Logan. Oh, but that's a date time. Okay, well, in that case, we're just going to completely delete that. I forgot I made that a thing, so we're just going to delete you entirely. Yeah, I'll delete that field entirely. And, yeah, that's enough information for that. So I'll just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... You'll be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Why not? I know this is not actually how social security numbers work. But point being, each and every one of these is going to wind up being different. And 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Why not? There we go. So attending, whatever, attending, so on and so forth. There we go. I have myself enough useless information right here, and I can go in there and make myself this social security number, everything's different. I can make that my primary key, save it. Everything works out fine the way it is. And of course, it automatically reassembled itself based on the primary key. So this one came before this one, came before this one, because 1, 2, 3, 4 comes before 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So chances are, whatever you make your primary key, it's going to organize it to that. So chances are you probably want to, move these rows around. Boom, now Social Security is up there by simply clicking and dragging. So now when I view this, save. Oh, look, Social Security is now on my left side instead of being in the middle. So simply by clicking and dragging things around, you will wind up reorganizing how it's seen by the user. Now, that's how all this goes, but what if you want to actually make something printable in paper format? There's multitudes of ways to actually create using this data that we've made by simply creating something and putting it out there. So I'm just going to go into the Create tab, obviously, since I'm creating something. And I can, of course, create another table. You've already seen me do that a couple of times. But there's these things called queries, forms, and reports. So there's a little bit of a difference between all of them, and I'll showcase them right now. So I'm just going to go in and I'm going to go with query design here. What is a query? A query is a question. So, and it'll pop up this thing. It'll say query 1. It'll say, oh, what table do I want? Oh, well, what table was I using? I'll use example table 2. I'm pretty sure that's what I was using. And I'll hit add. And now that field and all that stuff pops in right there. Oh, well, that's obviously not what I wanted. Let me go to example table 3. Add. There we go. There's my stuff I wanted. And I'll close that out. So I can, of course, always right-click something if I don't want it and just simply remove the table from my query. But yes, so let's just say, for example, you had multiple tables here of information. You could put specific parts of different tables in the same query. Anything that's inside this gray area you can use. And of course, you can go and say field, which one do we want? Oh, we'll use social security number right here. But you know what? Maybe we don't. Maybe I just want last name. And maybe I just want first name then. And then I want social security number. And you know what? I'll just even click and drag the last one. I'll put attending class here. So, and of course, you can show it, not show it, however it is you want. So, for example, if I'm only showing the attending class here, this is going to be really awkward to look at. But I'm just going to be, since I'm in this design tab, I can just click the run button. And there it is. That's what it looks like. That's what it would wind up looking like. Now let's switch back to the view here. And now if I click all these guys back on for showing it, I hit run. Oh, look, now that's what it looks like. Yay, that's what it runs for. Now, at the same time, I can simply sort stuff out as well. So I can do sorting, I can do ascending, descending, so on and so forth. So let's just say we're going to sort this from ascending order and hit run. So now the last name is going blank, blank, blank. H comes before O, which comes before P, which comes before S. But you know what? Let's switch this to descending order. And now when I hit run, Smith comes before P, which comes before O. It's going in reverse. But let's use these blank guys as an example here. This guy is going to be named Adam. And this guy's going to be named Bob. And this guy's going to be named Steve. Why not? So now when I go back to view here, so we've got our last name descending, run, and it's Adam, Bob, Steve. But you know what? Let's make this guy also descending. So now, if there's a duplicate, like let's say there's multiple people with the same last name, then it'll also organize it based on this. It's nesting itself. So now we see blank S comes after blank B, which comes after blank A. And of course, if I switch that around, maybe I'll make this ascending. So now it's going blank, blank, blanks are up first, but I still put the first name in ascending, so, oh, there's a duplicate here. Well, now let's organize it further. So you can keep essentially Russian nesting doll this, where this column gets organized first, then if there's any duplicates there, this column can organize it further. And then if there's any duplicates here, like let's say there's 2 Steves, then this one will happen. So let's just switch that out. Let's make Bob another Steve. So now, let's just put these both in ascending just for the sake of argument. We have blank Adam and blank Steve and blank Steve. But if I go social security number next way, and let's make that descending. Let's just make it even different. Ascending, ascending, descending. Now when I hit run, blank Adam comes first, but then blank Steve. Okay, we've got 2 duplicates here. Oh, well I put it in descending, so this guy, the 67890, will wind up happening before 1, 2, 3, 4. Because I told it, if this is the same, move on to this. If this is the same, move on to this. And do this one in descending order. So you can keep getting more and more and more in depth with how it is you want to organize and put it on paper by hitting this run button right here. And of course we can save ourselves query 1 by, we'll click at close out the red X and it'll go, oh, would you like to save the design? Why, yes. Yes, I would. And now, of course, I can name it, whatever it is. I'll name this, example query. And boom, now you'll notice there's a spot for tables, but there's also a spot for queries. And of course, by clicking, I'll, hide them and show them exactly. But, so yes, your folder over here even categorizes things for you based on what type of data it is. And based on what type of data it is also very important. Because whatever you start with, so for example, I'm starting right here on example 3, whatever I make the create on, like if I create a form, it's going to create that form based on example 3. If I were to start this on example 2 and hit form, it'll base it on, example 2. And if I go to now renamed, which is this gibberish right here, and go to form, it'll start the form based on this example. So, what is the difference between a query and a form? Okay, well, let's just click, form design. See this grid stuff right here? This is simply clicking and making and all this sort of fun stuff involving, logo, title, date, time, add existing field. So if I want to add an existing field or property sheet or tab or whatever, I can add fields to show all tables. And, I'm going to click and drag my social security right there. There's the social security. It's right there. And then I click my last name and I'll click and drag it right here. I'm essentially making a printable piece of paper that you can wind up seeing. And, yeah. So, boom. And I'll click and drag. Boom. That's where that goes. Click and drag. Boom. That's where that'll go. Click and drag. And that's where that'll go. Click and drag. That's where that'll go. And you'll wind up making, essentially, a form. This is the visual design process of how you want to make stuff. Obviously, having things scattered out like this is kind of interesting. But you know what? We'll even say, yeah, close it out. And close, and we'll save the form 1. And we'll name this example form. Why not? Now, obviously, make it a bit more organized and pretty than this. But, so now if I look at the form, oh look, there's the form. And the form social security number is 1234. First name Steve, last name is nothing, and attending class. But you'll notice down here, this 1 of 8, this is individualized for each person. The forms only are for one piece of data. So this right here is one piece of data. Click the next record. This is another one piece of data. This is another one piece of data. Good old John Smith 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mark Henry 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Miss Ocean Boomy 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are all individualized for each individual person. So if you ever wondered, how is it, your grade sheet or your progress report or whatever you had in grade school or middle school or whatnot, how it printed out for each individual student in the entire classroom, oh gee, they might have done something like this. This is how you see only your information but don't see anyone else's. And that's, close that out. Now there's one other thing I'm going to make here, and I'm going to go to create, and I'm going to go to report. And, I can just go to, I'll just click the normal basic report on this one here. And you'll see something like this, and I'll just close this out. But yeah, I can once again click and drag fields in here. But you'll notice these dotted line segments here. This is essentially a piece of paper, like if it were to come out of a printer. And I can, simply, click entire columns or arrange, insert row above, insert row below, format, page setup, and of course, if I right-click this, I should be able to select an entire row, or right-click again, select an entire column. I can, of course, also, split something. I can merge or split. So if I want to, combine certain things, like let's just say I want to combine, let's just say I want to combine, yeah, I'll combine all those. And let's just merge. I can't merge them. Okay. I can split vertically, though, or split horizontally. There we go. Now there's two different parts. There's a part there and a part there. I can split these in half. And, of course, if I select them now, I should be able to merge them. Yep, I can merge them back together. Boom, now they're merged back together. So it's a little bit more like Excel here. And, of course, it can simply click and drag and move things around to however it is you feel fit. But basically, this is how it would wind up looking like if I were to print it out on a printer page. And you see this dashed line going down? That's where my page ends. So you probably don't want to have your page end like that, and you probably don't want to have things like where, Social Security is blank over here, but then the Social Security numbers are over here, so probably want to, move that back over there, and I probably want to delete this entire row, that entire column, so on and so forth. But you'll even say page 1 of 1. It'll show you, if you were to print this out, how it would physically print. So, and I'll just close this out, and I'll want to say, yes, I will name this example report. Okay. And as you see, I've got my tables, my queries, my forms, my reports, so on and so forth. So everything that we have here in this program for this project is all right here. What you're going to wind up doing is, well, first off, read the rubric, but you're going to probably make a table and make some data points. Some will be numbers, some will be, text, some will have certain restrictions, some won't. You're essentially just going to make data for people. You can choose you can choose people you can make up people that don't exist. But whatever it is you're going to do, you're going to make up, a couple of people, and then you're going to make a query, a form, and a report about them. So you're going to make all of it from scratch, and you're going to basically, submit that through the online submission. So this is basically just getting yourself used to Access and understanding what it can and cannot do. It's essentially a more advanced version of Excel where you can fiddle with the programming behind the scenes of each and every column and or field, as they call it in this program. So thank you very much. Of course, in class time, I'll be walking around to help out anyone that needs help. So don't be afraid to raise your hand and ask a question. I know many people don't actually use Access in their day-to-day lives, so this is chances are the first time you're ever seeing it.